Once upon a time, there was a lovely princess who liked to take long walks into the woods. She wanted to play by the beautiful pond in the woods. After a while, she came upon the lovely pond. She sat by the side of the pond and began skipping rocks and enjoying her time. She had brought with her her treasured golden ball, a special gift from her father, the king. It was her most treasured toy. She just loved it. She threw it up in the air and caught it many times. She threw up her golden ball again, and it came down with a splash and landed in the pond. "Oh no!" cried the princess. "My beautiful golden ball! How will I ever get it back?" Just then, she saw an ugly frog coming out of the pond. The frog spoke and asked her, why was she crying? The princess could not believe she was hearing a talking frog. She blinked her eyes, and then the frog offered to retrieve her ball if she would let him live with her in her castle. She agreed to the deal and said, "Of course." The frog jumped back into the pond and dove very deep down and retrieved the princess's golden ball from the bottom of the pond.
Wow.
He then gave it back to the princess. She was so excited to get her golden ball back that she began to run back to the castle, forgetting all about her deal, leaving the frog behind. The frog was very sad and yelled, "Don't forget our deal, that I will come and live with you in the castle." The princess answered back, "How can an ugly frog possibly live with me in my beautiful castle?" And she continued on her way. The frog knew he must go to see the princess at her castle. She had to keep the deal they had made. The frog knew he had to convince the princess she must let him stay with her, even if it was just for a night or two. The frog cleaned himself up so he looked his finest. He hopped out of the pond and started to hop towards the castle. The frog finally came to the castle during the dinner hour. He hopped into the dining room, and then the princess had to tell the king all about the deal she had made with the ugly frog, about how he retrieved her golden ball from the bottom of the pond, and that he expected to come and live in the castle for retrieving the ball. The king listened to the story, and he insisted she must keep her word, and he welcomed the frog in. The frog hopped along and followed the princess to her room. He made himself very cozy on a bunch of pillows on her beautiful bed. He then fell asleep. In the morning, the frog awoke the princess and asked her for a favor. The frog asked the princess to kiss him, and he would leave her alone forever. The princess was annoyed by the frog, but she could not believe it, and she said, "Why would I kiss an ugly frog?" Just then, a tiny teardrop came out of the frog's eye. The princess saw the teardrop and thought she'd best give the frog a kiss, then he would just go away anyway. As she kissed the frog, he turned into the most handsome prince. The princess could not believe her eyes. The handsome prince told her how the evil witch had cast a spell on him and had turned him into the ugly frog. The only thing that would break the spell was a kiss from a lovely princess. When the princess heard this story, she fell in love with him immediately. The prince then asked her to marry him. She said yes. They held the wedding by the beautiful pond, and they lived happily ever after in the beautiful castle. Once upon a time, there was a boy named Aladdin who lived far, far away with his poor widowed mother. One night, a stranger knocked on the front door and said, "Good evening. My name is Mustafa, and I am looking for my brother's son, Aladdin. I would like to take Aladdin to work with me to make good money." Aladdin wasn't too keen on the idea, because there was something about Mustafa that he did not like. But his mother thought it was a great idea, and she agreed to let Aladdin go with his uncle. Aladdin and his uncle walked for a full day into the desert, until they reached a cave with a small entrance. Mustafa was too big to fit through the entrance, so he asked Aladdin to go inside. Aladdin did not trust him and was afraid he might block him in. But his uncle told him there were gems and gold inside the cave. Mustafa told Aladdin he could take as much as he wanted. Mustafa only wanted an old lamp from inside the cave. So Aladdin went inside. Aladdin could not believe his eyes when he entered the cave. It was full of treasures. He started filling his pockets with diamonds and rubies and emeralds. He also found a gold ring that fit his finger perfectly. Finally, he found the lamp Mustafa had asked for. He yelled for Mustafa to help him out. But Mustafa said he wanted to see the lamp first. Aladdin did not trust him, so he refused to let him see the lamp. Mustafa was angry and said, "I am not your real uncle, and I don't care about you, Aladdin. Since you won't give me the lamp, I will block the cave entrance with this huge rock." Mustafa left Aladdin inside. Aladdin sat crying with the lamp inside the cave. "Stupid old lamp," he said. "It is not even real gold." He rubbed the lamp a little to wipe off the dust. And all of a sudden, poof! A genie came out of the lamp. "Master, I will grant you 3 wishes," said the genie. Right away, Aladdin said, "Take me home." And poof, Aladdin was at home. His mother almost fainted at the sight of Aladdin. He told her about Mustafa and the cave full of treasures. Aladdin rubbed the ring he had put on his finger, and a second genie appeared. "Master, I can grant you 2 wishes," said the genie. Aladdin wished for a grand palace and enough wealth for him and his family to be rich forever. All of a sudden, Aladdin and his mother had a beautiful palace filled with riches. One day, Aladdin was walking through the city when he saw the most beautiful girl. He fell in love with her at first sight. She was the Sultan's daughter, Yasmin. Yasmin loved Aladdin too. Aladdin went to ask the Sultan if he could marry Yasmin, and the Sultan said yes. After many years, the Sultan died, and Aladdin ruled the country. This news reached Mustafa. Mustafa knew how Aladdin became so rich and powerful, and he made a plan to get the lamp back. Mustafa tricked Yasmin, who had no idea who he was, into trading him with the old ugly lamp for a shiny new one. Yasmin accepted the trade and went to show Aladdin. Aladdin was mad at Mustafa for tricking his wife into this trade. He searched for Mustafa and found him sleeping with the magic lamp. Aladdin slipped the lamp from Mustafa and raced back to the palace. Aladdin had one more wish, and he asked the genie to turn Mustafa into a frog so that he could never bother them again. The genie granted Aladdin's wish, and Yasmin and Aladdin lived happily ever after. Once upon a time, a lovely mermaid named Ariel rescued a drowning prince from a shipwreck. Ariel's father had forbade her to swim to the surface, but she had to save the prince. Ariel wanted to be part of the human world so badly. Somehow she would find a way. As she touched the prince's face, she wished with all her heart that she could stay on the beach and dance with this man of her dreams. As the prince lay unconscious, she sang to him. "What would I do to see you smiling at me?" she sang. Her father's trusted friend tried to convince Ariel that being under the sea was her home, and she would be much happier living her life there instead of the human world. The Sea King had asked his friend to keep an eye on his daughter. But despite all the king's friend's efforts, he could not convince her because she was in love with the prince. The fish, her only best friend, was the only one who understood her. Her fish friend surprised Ariel with a statue of the prince that had sunk with the shipwreck. "Oh, thank you so much, my friend," Ariel said. "The statue looks exactly like him." Just then, her father, the Sea King, found Ariel in her secret grotto with her collection of things from the world above the sea. He destroyed all of her treasures in an attempt to protect her from the dangers of the human world. Ariel was so upset.
Oh no.
She sought out the help of the Sea Witch. The Sea Witch made a deal with Ariel. In exchange for the mermaid's voice, the witch would transform Ariel's mermaid tail into legs. The Sea Witch told Ariel she would remain human only if she received a kiss of true love before the sunset on the third day. As Ariel wiggled her newly found toes, the Sea King's trusted friend knew he had to tell the king. But he knew Ariel would be so sad as a mermaid. The king's friend agreed to help Ariel find the prince. Ariel's seagull friend helped her find a dress, and it wasn't long before the prince arrived. "You are the one!" he exclaimed. "The one I have been searching for!" Ariel nodded but could not speak. "But the girl who rescued me had the most beautiful voice," said the prince. "Perhaps you are not the girl I have been searching for." Still, the prince helped her to the castle, and they had dinner that night. Ariel made the prince laugh for the first time in weeks. He showed her around his kingdom the next day and was enchanted by her enthusiasm for everything, from horses to puppet shows. The prince thoroughly enjoyed Ariel, and that night they went for a quiet, romantic boat ride. As the prince leaned in to kiss Ariel, the Sea Witch made her pet eels tip the boat. Then the Sea Witch hypnotized the prince and transformed herself, pretending to be his mysterious dream girl. She arranged a wedding right away to make sure all of Ariel's plans would fail. Ariel's seagull bird friend gathered all of her ocean friends to help Ariel defeat the sea witch's evil plans. Her friends fought the sea witch and won, and Ariel's voice was restored. And the spell on the prince was broken. He realized Ariel was his true love, but it was too late, and Ariel was a mermaid again. The evil sea witch dragged Ariel back into the sea. But the strong prince would not lose his true love again, and he fought and destroyed the evil sea witch. The Sea King and his trusted friend watched. And the Sea King could see how much his daughter loved the prince. So he granted her wish to marry the prince. All of Ariel's great sea friends applauded as the prince and Ariel were married, and they lived happily ever after. Once upon a time, there was a lovely lady who lived in the countryside. Her beautiful white cottage was filled with the smell of fresh baked cookies that wafted over to her barn. She loved to bake cookies. One day, she wanted to bake something extra nice, with flour, sugar, and spice. She got out her big red mixing bowl and her wooden spoon. She mixed all her ingredients until the batter was just right. Then she rolled out her dough just perfectly. She thought, "This dough is so perfect and flat and just like butter. I think it is time for my cookie cutter." Soon the cookie was baked perfectly. She had used a gingerbread man cookie cutter. The lady thought she must decorate this special cookie with 2 eyes, lips, and a nose, and a nice bow tie around the neck. She thought he looked delicious and wanted to eat him. Before she knew it, the gingerbread man cookie came to life, hopped off the cookie pan, and ran out of the cottage. She ran after him. "Don't run! I want to eat you!" The gingerbread man shouted back, "Run, run as fast as you can. You can't catch me, I'm the gingerbread man." As she ran after him past her barn, a cow smelled the cookie and wanted to eat him too. The cow began to chase the gingerbread man, along with the lady. The gingerbread man saw the cow chasing him, and he said, "Run, run as fast as you can. You can't catch me, I'm the gingerbread man." Soon a chicken and a pig from the farm joined the chase for the gingerbread man. They chased him all the way to the edge of the big pond. The gingerbread man knew he would melt if he went into the pond. And then, all of a sudden, a sly fox appeared and offered to help the gingerbread man cross the water. "But I think you might eat me," said the gingerbread man. "Oh, don't worry. I just want to help you cross the water," said the sly fox. The gingerbread man thought it was okay, and he jumped onto the sly fox's tail. The lady and the barnyard animals watched as the gingerbread man crossed the pond with the sly fox. Soon the water got higher, and the fox told the gingerbread man to get on his back to avoid getting wet. The gingerbread man crawled from the fox's tail to his back. Then the water got even deeper, and the fox asked the gingerbread man to hop on his head to be safe from the water. Soon even the fox's head was going under the water. He asked the gingerbread man to hop on his nose to really finish his plan. The gingerbread man hopped on the fox's nose. Just as they reached land, the fox flipped his nose and the gingerbread man went flying into the air and was falling towards the sly fox's mouth. The sly fox's plan was now very evident. He was going to eat the gingerbread man. All of a sudden, a crow snatched the gingerbread man from the air.
Oh no.
The gingerbread man was now in the crow's beak. The fox just stared as the crow flew away in the sky. The gingerbread man asked the crow, "Do crows eat gingerbread men?" "Yes," said the crow. And when he opened his beak to answer the gingerbread man fell down to the ground.
Ow, ow, ow.
He ran away as fast as he could. The gingerbread man yelled to the lady and all the animals, "Run, run as fast as you can. No one can catch me. I'm the gingerbread man." If you ever see a gingerbread man, don't try to catch him, because no one can.